Welcome back to the Million Dollar Landscaper Podcast. Now, before we dive into today's podcast, I want to remind you our 3-month accelerator program is starting soon. It's starting here in January, and it's only open to a number of spots. We're keeping the small and intimate program that's going to help you ensure you have time to ask questions and get what you need to get to succeed in 2023. So if you're looking to take your business to the next level, then you need to check out the 3-month accelerator. We're offering a comprehensive 3-month program that's to help you better understand your business's numbers, how to put together a winning estimate, how to create a winning sales process, and how to hire, train, and retain those key employees. We believe in you, and we know with the right support and tools, you can achieve anything you want. That's why we're giving you this opportunity to get more coaching and resources designed to help you succeed. Now, during these 3 months, we're going to have weekly 90-minute coaching sessions. We're going to give you all the tools, the spreadsheets, the calculators, the checklists you need to achieve all these goals. So if this is something you're interested in, get signed up today because there's only a few more spots open. I'd love to see you inside there. Now, today's podcast, I'm excited to bring on Kris Jones of Red Door Designs. Kris is an expert when it comes to the words, the copy that goes on your website, the copy that you can use in your social media posts, the copy you can use to explain what you do to the customers. And today she is here to tell us how to lay that out and why the words matter and what the benefits are of telling a good story. So you do not want to miss today's podcast, but a quick word from our sponsors. This podcast is brought to you by Busy Busy. Busy Busy is so simple to use, and it's the most reliable GPS time tracking app on the market. And the best part is, it was built for landscapers. Busy Busy's founder created Busy Busy because he owns multiple construction companies and needed to understand better which projects were making him money and which projects were killing him. Payroll is the highest variable cost in the project, so you better be tracking it. Busy Busy does this better than anyone else. So download Busy Busy today, and don't forget to mention the Million Dollar Landscaper Podcast to get 3 free months.
We want to take a quick second to tell you about our friends over at Cycle CPA. I can't even express to you how important it is to have a good accountant on your side. You know you want accurate bookkeeping and financial statements every month. Instead, you're often left with limited time to focus on the accounting side of your business and no reports to show for it. At Cycle CPA, the landscaping accountants, they not only handle the bookkeeping, but also provide landscape industry benchmarking, job costing, financials by service line, advisory meetings, and much more. Cycle CPA has a team of landscaping accountants available to provide anything from bookkeeping to CFO services. Visit cyclecpa.com, and for $100 off, mention the Million Dollar Landscaper Podcast.
Welcome back to the Million Dollar Landscaper Podcast. Today, I'm so excited to bring on this guest. Today, we have Kris Jones. Now, Kris Jones is a storybrand guide and founder of Red Door Designs. She's been mentored by author of building a storybrand book. Actually, I have the book somewhere up here. Yes, it's an amazing book. It's written by Donald Miller. Now, Donald Miller and her have been working together, and they have over 20 years of experience with clients such as Nike and Adidas under their belt. And she's extremely passionate about helping small business owners and service providers get website copy and words that sell so you can multiply your revenue and focus on what you do best. Now, Kris believes that writing copy for your own business doesn't have to feel like torture. In fact, once you learn how to tell your compelling story, it can actually be fast, easy, and fun. So welcome, Kris. Thanks for being on the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Scott. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. So Kris, you mind just giving a little background of yourself and what Red Doors Designs is?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I am the founder of Red Door Designs. We are a marketing firm in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
And I started this firm about 20 years ago, and we started out really focusing on design, website design, and did that for many, many years. But over time, what I started to realize is that design can only get you so far in your business. Like it used to be at the kind of early days of the web, you could have a beautiful website and your business would really thrive with any website that you had. And then things started to get a little bit more competitive online. People started putting more money into website design. And so I kept kind of on that track. But after some time, I realized that a beautiful design would only get you so far. You really needed compelling copy and really strategic words and storytelling on your website to connect with your potential customers. And once I started really focusing on the words and the storytelling that happened on my clients' websites, I saw their businesses just start multiplying in revenue. And it was so powerful that I just never looked back. And so I've evolved. A lot of the work that I do is just really all about how to create beautiful storytelling on your website and in a way that really truly connects with your ideal clients. And that's kind of now my sole focus of the work that I do.
Nice, nice. So, just to get clarification for those people that aren't familiar with the word copy or copywriting, Kris, you mind elaborating on that a little bit more and telling people what copy is?
Yeah, there can be some confusion with like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm going to copyright my logo or copyright this book. That's different. Copywriting for your website is all it means is what are the words on your website? What are you communicating on your website with the words that are on there? And you would not believe how powerful it is. One example of this is really like if any of you guys have bought anything on Amazon, right? You go to the product and you're like, okay, I think I need this product, but you don't actually buy until you read the words that people have shared about that. You read the reviews, you hear what people say about this product, and that's what pushes you over the edge to make that purchase.
Yeah, and I think this is so important because, like you said, everybody does their research. So whether you offer, lawn maintenance service or landscaping service, people, customers are going to be doing the research on you, and it's important to have those appropriate words on your website. I've seen so many landscapers that will go hire people to create this amazing looking website. It looks great, fantastic, but like you said earlier, some of the words doesn't they don't really make sense. I've seen this especially if some like offshore companies that make the websites and the word just they go together, but they just don't describe your business. They don't describe what you do and your story. So that's what I love about having you on, Kris, today to kind of share a little bit about that.
Yes, yeah. And, to echo your point, it's really important when you are your own business. So, as a landscaper, you are the business, you're the face of the business. Even if you have a team, you are the face of the business. So, it's really
Mhm.
important that your website copy feel really aligned with who you are. So you can be excited when someone asks to get your website address. You can, feel proud to share that with them because it's really true to who you are.
Mhm. Now, earlier you mentioned telling a story. Can you share why it's important to be able to tell what a good story on your website, especially when it comes to the landscaping industry?
Yeah. So there's a lot of confusion around storytelling, right? Because we grew up listening to stories and having our parents read books to us. And there is like a fundamental formula for how stories are written. But the beautiful thing about this is that writing for your website doesn't really mean telling your life story or talking all about you. It's really more about how do you craft a strategic story that invites your customers into a narrative with you. And really, what it's about is writing the words on your website in a way that connects to your ideal customer and builds trust because people will not work or hire you if they don't trust you. And the quickest, most efficient way to build that trust and build that connection is through storytelling on your website.
So, how would you go about telling a good story on your website?
Well, so let me break down kind of the components of every story. So, every single story or every movie you've ever watched begins with a hero that has a problem they can't solve. And the key here is that your customers are the hero of your story. So, your customers have a problem that they can't solve. And then that hero meets a guide that has a solution to the problem. And you, as the landscaper, are the guide and you have the solution. You've been there, done that. You know how to solve this problem that they have. And then, as a guide, you help them navigate to experience success. So, let's say the hero has a problem, they have a yard that is just, you know, not thriving. It's not pleasing to the eye. They're frustrated with it. Maybe they're embarrassed that their neighbors are seeing their yard in the state that it is. So this is a problem that they have that they don't know how to solve. So then they search for a guide that has the solution. So they're going to hopefully come across you and your business and realize that, oh my gosh, you have authority in this space. You know how to solve this problem. And then you're going to help guide them to overcome this problem so they can experience success. And success in this story is that they are proud of their yard. They are excited to throw their 4th of July party. They utilize their exterior space in a way that is like an extension of their home. All the wonderful benefits that happen when someone is really proud of their landscaping. So that's that is really in its most simple form how to tell a story. A hero has a problem they can't solve. They meet a guide with a solution, that's you, and then that hero finds success.
And I think that's an amazing framework and outline of how to do things. Now, you mentioned for like landscapers, we'll say they, create these beautiful outdoor living areas with the outdoor kitchen and stuff. Are you kind of describing those types of things so the customer can envision what it's going to be like and having their family and friends? Is that kind of the storyline that you're looking for?
Yeah, that is a very important part of the
Okay.
story. It's one ingredient of the story. As a guide, you really want to show your leads and your potential customers what success looks like. You want to show them like what's possible for them if they work with you. So yeah, we can do that through imagery and through words, really just reminding them like, yeah, this is totally possible. We can help you get here to this wonderful experience of success.
So let me ask you, what do you think is the number one mistake most landscape business owners make when it comes to the words and copy on their website? What's something that you see?
I think that the biggest mistake is, well, there are two. Number one is that you outsource the copy to somebody who doesn't really quite know about how to tell a good story and strategy. So that you forget to put any importance or energy into the copy on your website. So I think the biggest one is just that your website doesn't tell a story at all. And then the second one is that this is very common. People unknowingly paint themselves as the hero of their own story. And what happens when you do that is that there's really only room for one hero of a story. So when somebody lands on your website, you've kind of kicked them out of the story from the get-go. So they leave the website and go find somebody else. A lot of this happens subconsciously, right? You go to a website and you feel like a connection with this company or this person, or you feel compelled to take action and call them. Or the opposite happens. You go to a website and you're like, I don't know what it is. I just don't feel compelled to work with this person. But there's strategy behind that. And so all of that can happen when you really intentionally tell a story on your website. The viewers are going to arrive and they're not going to know why, but they're going to be compelled to call you and schedule a call with you and work with you. And that's why. That's the power of story. We are just wired as humans. We are wired for a story because we've been sitting around that fireside from the beginning of time. And so that is like, that's why we can go to a movie theater, and as busy as we are and as long as our to-do lists are, we walk into that movie theater and we don't think about anything else for 90 minutes. Nothing has the power to capture our attention and connect with our heads and our hearts the way that story does.
I think it's so important. How you mentioned how some websites will have the owner's story or about me. Is that something that's still important to have, talking about themselves or their company, or should that just be on a separate page, about me page, or something like that?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think the difference in the way that I approach storytelling is that I I will talk about you, or we will talk about you. It's not like you're still in the story. You're still a character in the story. You're the guide. You're not the hero. So we talk about you as it relates to your customers. We talk about you in a way. We talk about the things about you that your customers actually care about. So they don't care about that your grandfather founded this business in 1940 and this and that. They care that you have empathy and you understand their problem. They care that you have the authority to solve it and the experience to solve it. And they care that that you are trustworthy. And so we write about you around all those types of things.
So, is there a strong connection between telling a good story and making more money?
Absolutely, 100%. So, as I mentioned before, people do not buy from people they don't trust. And people buy from people they feel a connection with. And those are the things that storytelling does. So what happens for my clients is that people go to their website and they get so excited to work with the provider that they schedule a call, and the sales calls are really short. They're fairly effortless because people are already queued up and ready and excited to work with you. The other thing that happens when there's trust built and connection built and authority built, people are just more willing to pay more because they know you're going to solve their problem and they have complete and total faith in you. The other thing that happens is that people start to just love working with you because you're starting this relationship based on trust and connection. And so they refer you to all their friends. So it's just this kind of snowball effect that happens. But I think the biggest thing is it allows you to charge more, and it allows you to basically not have to sell so much for your business, because your website is really acting as a 24/7 sales employee for you. So you get to focus on design and all the fun parts of the business that you love, and not the selling part, which most people don't enjoy that part of it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Now, once you create this story, can you use this story? I mean, obviously you want to use it on our website, but can you use this in like your social media posts, your lives and everything else, and your emails? Is this something that you can kind of put everywhere?
Yeah, Scott, I'm so glad you asked that question, because that is the kind of the hidden benefit of this work. We work together to craft the copy and the words on your website. And then essentially that becomes your brand copy Bible. And you've got this document anytime you ever need to create copy or give people information about your business. You go to that document, you copy and paste what we've already written, and you send it to them. So it's perfect for your social media profiles. It's perfect for Instagram posts. It's great. It's a great thing to put in your email signature. The words that we craft, you'll want to copy and paste like short snippets of that and put that on your business card. Really, the beauty about crafting your own story is that you never have to do it again. It just is kind of like that workhorse of your business that keeps working for you. And the more you repeat that same message, the more people remember you as like that person. You're the person that solves this problem, and you're top of mind.
Yeah, I love that. And I think this would be very important for like in your sales process too. Like when we tell our clients and what we did in our business, when a customer comes to your website and fills out a form or calls you on the phone, we would instantly send them an email that introduces them to us and tells a little bit of our story. And I think that's something where having something like what you said, with having that story and sending it to them, if
Yes.
they haven't got a chance to, look at your website, they're getting introduced to you and learning how you can help you.
Absolutely. Copy and paste. Just copy and paste. It's your go-to tool for all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, is there anything that you see landscapers that one thing they just need to do right away on their website? So if they have all these different services, and should they have a story for every one of the services, or is this something like they should have one story on their homepage, we'll say, and then
Mhm.
and that's it?
Your homepage is your most powerful page. So if you're going to do anything, I would say put energy into your homepage. That's really the introduction. That's the first impression that you're going to make for your clients. So focus on your homepage, get your story right and clear on your homepage, and that will really do the heavy lifting for you. Oftentimes, I do integrate some of the services on your own homepage depending on how many you have, but really, by the time they've scrolled down to the bottom of your homepage, they're ready to schedule a call with you and excited to work with you. So it's not like you can't have other pages on your website. You can, but your homepage will do that heavy lifting for you, and it will convert those leads into paying customers.
Gotcha. Now, I know you are into the story brand and they have a framework in there. You mind elaborating a little bit about that framework? 'Cause I think it's important for landscapers to understand like how things should be laid out on their homepage.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, really, the framework in its most simplest form is, the hero has a problem that they want to solve. And that hero, we delve a little bit deeper into those problems. So there are layers of problems that people have. They have an external problem, which is like, my yard is ugly. You just keep it simple, right?
Yeah.
And then there's an internal problem there that is more like they're embarrassed. They feel kind of down whenever they look out their window because they're not happy. There's internal problems that come with the external problems. So another example that's not related to this industry might be like, okay, there's not enough money in my bank account. That's the external problem. The internal problem is it's causing me anxiety because, I'm not sure I can pay my mortgage. So you can see the difference between those two problems. People make decisions based on their internal problem. So we really want to hone in on what is that internal problem that your customer is facing. They think that they make decisions based on their external problem. They really make decisions based on the internal problem. And so that's a lot of the work that we're going to do together, is really articulating that. And what's magical about that is that when you clearly articulate your customer's problem, they immediately think you're the best one to solve it. So it's a really important part of the story. And then after that problem, we introduce you as the guide. So you're the business owner, you are the guide, and you want to make sure they know that you have a plan. What's your plan? What's your process? So what's unique about you and the way that you work is that you create. How does it work, right? You call, you come up with an estimate, you map out 3 different designs, they choose the winning design, and then you implement it. So we just want them to know people don't want to jump off a cliff. They want to know that there are just 3 simple steps in order to achieve their ultimate end goal. And then we really identify what that success looks like. Not only what it looks like, what does it feel like for them? So if they're embarrassed about their yard, what does it feel like for them to be proud of their yard? What does it feel like for them to really utilize this outdoor space in a way that creates deeper connections with their family members and their neighbors? And then we also, like, no story is complete without communicating like what's at stake if they don't do anything. So the reason that we stay in a movie for 90 minutes is because we aren't sure if that hero's going to find success or completely fail. And so if there's nothing at stake in the story, then the story is really boring, actually, and we don't stick with it. So we want to make sure. In this case, it might be like, what's at stake if you do nothing, or you let your yard stay stagnant another year? Like, what's at stake for you around that? Lots of things. but that's kind of what there's multiple ingredients that we weave into your homepage in order to pull people in and make people want to engage and keep reading more and more and more until they're called to action, which is really to reach out and connect with you.
Yeah, no, I think that's so important, and those are some great points there. I I encourage you, like all the landscapers out there that are listening, that your words do matter on your website. You really need to take a deep dive into them. Um, I know many of us will put that off on our web developer, let them put it all in there, but it doesn't really give you your story. It doesn't give you why it doesn't lead the customer to want to purchase from you. And I think a lot of it is because we don't want to do it ourselves as landscapers. We're not good with words. We're not good with that or whatever. We're good at our skills. So having somebody like Kris here that can help you, guide you through that, is definitely going to help you. It's going to make you think of things that you never perhaps thought of before with this question. So when people work with you, Kris, do you have them go through some kind of, like, I shouldn't say onboarding, but some kind of questionnaires or something to get that information out of the landscaper?
Yeah, yes. I have a very streamlined process. Because I've been at this so many years, I know how to pull out of you like the best nuggets of information of, how are we going to tell your story in a way that's really unique and helps you stand out from all the other landscapers out there. And so the whole process takes 2.5 hours flat, and then you can cross it off your list forevermore. It's done. And it all begins with some video questions that I have you answer. So, questions in a video that I ask you, you answer those. And then this is a done for you process. So, then I take those answers and I write your copy for you. That way, you don't have to do it yourself. What happens for all business owners is we are just so close to our own business that we are literally inside of a bottle trying to read the label that can only be read from the outside of the bottle. And so it's really important to partner with somebody who knows how to pull those questions out of you and knows how to craft your story, because we're all too close to our own businesses to talk about it clearly.
Yeah.
So I write your copy for you, and then we get on together. We get on a 90-minute call and collaborate, refine, fine tune, and just make sure that we hit it out of the park with your copy so you can really confidently show up online and start growing your business and having a website that really does sell for you so you can focus on the fun parts of your business.
Yeah, I think that's so important, because I guess one of my favorite quotes from Donald Miller is, "If you confuse, you lose." And I think it's so important. And where I see many landscapers will have, like, where somebody else has written the website, and there's so much information on there. Like, I don't even know where to go. I don't even know where to put my eyes to begin to read. Where having someone like you kind of take that information, condense it down, and make it fit appropriately and tell that story is so important. Is that something you see where landscapers or anybody that use you that has so much information or even not enough information on their website?
Yes, yes. Mostly the former. There's just so much. Everybody is number one. Everyone's kind of overwhelmed these days. There's so much information coming at us from every angle, and so people actually don't read websites anymore. They literally do not read them. If you have a large paragraph of copy or text on your website, it will not get read. People will skim over it. So it's really essential to kind of distill down just the important parts of your story, and in a way that can be visually scanned, because that's how people engage with their website. With your website, they scan them, and not only that, they scan them while they're on a mobile phone. So it's even more important to, implement that less is more approach to your website, because otherwise, none of the information actually gets absorbed.
Mhm. Well, one of the things you mentioned there is people scan things a certain way. And that's one of the things I know Donald Miller talks about, is the order of way people actually read their websites. And so I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought it was like almost like a Z pattern type of thing that people read in certain
Yes,
ways.
yes, that's correct. So when they land on your website, typically there'll be a logo in the upper left-hand corner. And then what you want to do, they scan the website horizontally. So the first and most important part of your website is that upper right-hand corner of your website. And this is another very common mistake that nobody puts. Basically, the upper right-hand corner of your website is empty or just something blah, like it's a shopping cart or it's a contact text. And that is truly the most valuable real estate on your entire site. So you really want that to be a very clear call to action, that it isn't just, powerful words, but that it's also visually going to pop off the page. So I'd recommend like a bright color button that has a very clear call to action telling them what you want them to do next. So for landscapers, I imagine it would be schedule a call or call me now. And you want that to be in the upper right-hand corner.
Yeah. That's great. It's been some time since I read the book, but I just remember those key things that kind of always stuck with me from his work. Is that something too that you help your customers with as far as the layout and everything, or you mainly just do the words?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So step one is the words. And then part of the wireframe that we create for you is really, it's like a blueprint for your website. So it shows you exactly where the words are and how the words will flow, the hierarchy of type. So what's going to be a headline versus what's going to be smaller body copy. Where's the image going to go? Where are icons going to go? So it's kind of like if you were building a house, you would hire an architect to draw up blueprints before the builder began work. And this is really a blueprint for your website to map out where everything is going to go. We want to make sure everything is working well in black and white before we move into the design phase of the process.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, Kris, you mind sharing where people can learn a bit more about you and some of the things that you have to offer?
Absolutely. So, to work with me directly and to get your website copy written in 2.5 hours flat, go to reddoordesigns.com/copy. And that's red, REDDOOR designs, DESIGNS.com/copy. And you can sign up there for to work with me one-on-one. If you're interested in DIYing your copy for now, if that's where you're at in your business, it's totally fine. You can take my workshop that will help you write compelling copy for your website in 5 minutes flat. And you can access that at claritywithkris.com, and it's Kris with a K. So claritywithkris.com.
Oh, thank you. I think that's awesome. So no matter where you're at in your business, you can reach out to her and work out with her personally, or you can do it yourself. So definitely take advantage of it and really put some look or take a good look at your website, I should say, and really analyze it and look at it. I know many of us, especially if you're starting off, you don't really even some of you don't have a website or you're just doing some basic website, but the words matter more than anything, more than what you ever think, whether you're using a Google website or you're just having somebody else make it. So it's important to really have the proper words on there. Now, Kris, if somebody works with you, can they, if they have a web developer already, can they use those words and just send them over to a developer?
Absolutely. About half of my clients take the words that we create together and give them to their developer, and the developer knows exactly what to put where to add images. It's a very, very comprehensive blueprint for your website. So it's very easy to implement or hand it over to somebody else. My team and I also offer that service. So if you just want us to take the words and implement them on your existing site, we can do that for you as well.
Okay. So just curious, how much time does it take if somebody would work with you? How much time does it typically take to kind of go through this whole process and have a website developed?
So the entire process happens in 2.5 hours flat.
Okay.
So the initial intake where I'm asking you questions and you're answering them for me on a Google Doc. Takes about 45 minutes to an hour. And then you and I get on a collaboration call for 90 minutes. And so the whole process is 2.5 hours flat. Now, on my end, I take your answers and I write your website copy before we get on that collaboration call. So we're really at that stage refining and fine tuning the copy that I've already written.
Nice. So is there anything that you'd like to leave the listeners with if they have to go back and take a look at their website? Is there anything you'd like to tell them to do? There's something they suggest they do?
Yeah, I would say look at your website, and if it feels like there's too much copy on your website, I would encourage you to cut down the copy to about half. And I would also encourage you to start telling a story on your website. And it doesn't have to take a long time. It doesn't have to be a headache. It can happen really quickly and really easily. The information is there in you. You just need somebody to kind of extract it from you and craft your story. So the process is actually really fun.
Nice. Well, Kris, I appreciate you being on the show. One thing I forgot to ask you at the beginning of the podcast is, would you have time for some like 3 fun questions I usually ask?
Always.
All right. Awesome. Sorry to spring this up on you. I totally forgot to mention this to you.
That's totally fine. I love it.
All right. So what is one thing you'd be really disappointed to not do, or if you never had the chance to do, I should say? So what is one thing you'd be really disappointed if you never got to experience?
Wow, that's a really good question. I really do. I would really love the experience to go to all, if not all, most of the national parks. That was something I never really did growing up, and as I get older, I just so appreciate nature and the extraordinary nature that we have right here in the US. So yeah, I would do a national park tour in a motorhome.
Yep, I love it. We were talking about the show because it's before the show. That's one of the things that we do, and as our family, is we love to travel, and it's an amazing just to see the nature and the beauty that's out there, and just to get to experience. So I encourage you to do it.
Yeah.
All right. What is one thing that people buy that you think is really just a total waste of money?
Oh gosh. Honestly, it's funny because I did start out in the industry, like I said, 20 years ago, just gung ho about design, and I'm such a firm believer of design. I think design has such a powerful way to kind of affect how people feel, and unconsciously really kind of transform things. So I'm a big believer in design, but I think that now I don't like to see people pouring a lot of money into website design, because there are so many tools now that allow you to do it kind of in a beautiful way, like Squarespace, for example, or Wix. There's a lot of website tools that really kind of do the heavy lifting of the design for you. So it kind of pains me when people spend thousands of dollars on website design, when I kind of know that really they can get that for a more affordable price. And I'd rather they put that energy into their storytelling.
Nice. Okay. And last one. What is something that you don't mind paying a little more money for?
Ooh. Pillows. Comfortable pillows, comfortable bedding, good sheets, a good mattress topper. Yeah, I am all about feeling comfortable when you crawl into bed at the end of the day. And I think it's worth putting some money into.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's not a good thing if you have a bad pillow, or a pillow that doesn't last very long. So I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. All right, Kris. Well, again, thank you for being on the show. How can people get hold of you and reach out to you?
The best way to connect with me is to go to reddoordesigns.com. and check out what I offer on my website. I would love to work with you. There is an opportunity on the site to schedule a call with me, so you can do that. Or you can also go to claritywithkris.com and go through that DIY process. If you go through the DIY process, you also have an opportunity to schedule a call with me, so for free.
Nice.
I love to help clients find clarity around this, because it's such a frustrating, it can feel like a frustrating and daunting part of your business. And I love to kind of step in and help, sprinkle clarity into the process. It's really fun.
I love it. Again, Kris, thank you very much for being on the show. I do have one quick question though. Something just popped in my head.
Sure.
Why did you go with Red Door Designs? What's behind the scenes there?
Well, my favorite color is red, so I started there, and then I started doing some research and discovered that the red door is very representative of hospitality and prosperity. And so that's really how I want my clients to feel. Like, the experience with me is very high touch, and I wanted people to feel very welcomed welcome into my world when they work with me. And then, of course, prosperity is a beautiful thing for all humans. So I like to really create more prosperity for my clients.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. I was just kind of curious. I was like, wonder what the reasoning was. So,
Yep.
All right, Kris. Well, again, thank you very much, and I look forward to working with you a little bit more in the future and talking to you later.
Me too. Thank you so much, Scott. Yep. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.